And now it's time for a special edition of our On the Table program for RTM Day. Over to you, Mohana.
Hello and good evening. In conjunction with RTM Day today, On the Table delves into the dynamic world of broadcasting and the role of Radio Television Malaysia, or RTM, as a national broadcaster. Now, we have the honour of speaking with the Director General of Broadcasting himself, Dato' Suhaimi Sulaiman. Dato', welcome to the program.
Great to be here, Mohana.
Thank you. Now, Dato', you hit the ground running as soon as you were appointed Director General. Can you tell me what made you accept this challenging position, and what was your first personal mission for RTM?
Well, I got a phone call from our minister, YB Fahmi Fadzil, and I said yes, because I actually love the industry. I've been in the industry for the last 30 years, and the rest is history. Basically, the first thing that we have to make sure the brand, the RTM brand, will be relevant, relatable, and must be lovable. So that's based on that three things. We started planning for the next 2 years, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how is, considering the media landscape that's changing, evolving, viewer preferences are also changing, how do we adapt to that? How does RTM adapt to that while maintaining its identity as a national broadcaster?
What's important is we must have data. Data is so important when we want to make decisions. So at RTM, as you know, we use data a lot. And we have to understand the migration of the audiences. Where are they watching us? Through what platform? So based on that, we actually now seeing the migration from television to digital. So that is why we are encouraging people to download our RTM Click app, whereby as of yesterday, we have 5.05 million people downloading our who downloaded our apps. So we have to rethink how we tell the stories. Now the attention span of people is getting shorter and shorter. So when the attention span is shorter, how do you write your scripts for news, for example? Yeah? You don't have half an hour, you don't have 1 hour to tell your stories. So you must make sure that things can be done faster. People will have to see the stories, so they yes, what's next? You know? So they're impatient. So you have to address the needs of impatient audience. So people have changed a lot. Our audiences have changed a lot. So what we need to do is to understand the changes, to understand what they want, and give them what they want. I remember learning from my Marketing 101 class, you know, what is marketing? Marketing is fulfilling the needs and wants of your customers. So you apply that to broadcasting, basically.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that people are moving to digital. So this includes social media as well.
Exactly.
Because we're in a polymedia environment. People are using multiple media platforms. What are your thoughts about using platforms like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube? How do we position RTM through these platforms, and what was your aspiration for social media?
Just to share with our viewers, during the SEA Games, the last SEA Games, we had 10.3 million people watching the finals of the Indonesia versus Thailand soccer match. 10.3 million on TikTok. On TikTok alone, on TikTok alone. And then you see 8 million people watching us on different platforms, and then some of them are watching us through RTM Click. So what's important here is you have to understand the demography. So TikTok is much younger, for example. You know, Facebook, I'm the Facebook generation. Right. A little bit older, you know, but you're still very youthful in your approach to life. Yeah?
Of course.
So you have to understand there is no, previously, the thinking was, okay, this is for television. Therefore, you just cut and just put it on the social media. It doesn't work that way. So you have to make sure that the script writers must know this is the way for you to write for television, this is the way for you to write for social media, and this is for OTT.
Doesn't that also mean that you need a bigger staff?
Not necessarily. Yes, for certain things you need more people, but now you have to multitask. That's a beautiful word. Yeah, we're all multitasking today. You know, and it makes your life a lot more interesting. You're more powerful in that sense. Yeah. So we have to understand. For example, if I were to write a story, let me use an example. Yeah, recently, our team did very well in making the people understand from a 6% SST to an 8%. So instead of giving it the normal dry economic reporting news, they did it through animation. So they have cartoons explaining what's the increase in the percentage of SST, for example, and it worked for us. Yeah.
So it's very dry things, dry news that needs to be also brought down to the levels and how people understand, and bite-sized pieces.
Yes. Most importantly, we must make sure that people understand what's going on. Yeah. In order to make sure that we play a good role in nation building, we must make sure that people understand what news is, make it simple for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Dato', I want to ask you about artificial intelligence. There's so much talk about how artificial intelligence is overhauling industries. How does it apply to the broadcasting industry, and what is RTM doing in terms of artificial intelligence?
Yeah, people always say that, you know, when it comes to artificial intelligence, you will have a robot presenting the news. Yeah, not that.
That's the most popular opinion.
Yes. They think that Mohana Priya will not have a chance to read news later on, maybe next year, because you have a robot doing it, you know.
Right.
So they say that we'll save money. No, it's not just that. Number one, our archive system in RTM, it's managed by AI. Yeah. Moving forward, AI can actually help us to match, meaning if we have a certain program and we have the demography, so AI will help us to match. For example, we have these sponsors, maybe these sponsors would like to invest in this program. So it's all done by AI.
Okay.
So we are moving into AI in management, AI in marketing, AI in many, many other aspects, including public relations.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So it's all up to us on how we want to use AI, basically. So AI is not, don't worry, you still have your job.
Oh, thank you. Now, Dato', RTM is the country's oldest national broadcaster, and it holds a very special place in people's hearts and minds. How do you balance that? How do you balance that heritage value with changing content, innovative content, making sure it's modern, updated?
Yes. At the end of the day, like I mentioned earlier, you have to be relevant. Yeah, people change, you know, with time. You have to be relevant. You have to continue to be relatable. If you can't, if people can't relate to us, you're gone. Yeah, and then people must love you. We cannot be seen as very static, very stern, very, you know, robotic-like, So you must make sure that we are approachable. So that is why over the last 1 year, what we have done is we've gone to the ground, we meet people so that they know that this is a brand that's alive. Yeah. You have to be approachable. And if you go to X or Twitter, I would answer all those criticism.
Actually, that brings me to the next question, because I've noticed that from the time you've come in, you've kept yourself open. You've allowed for critiques, you've allowed for dialogue. You've even allowed people to come in and meet me in my office and give me your pitch.
Yes, it is about engaging your audience.
And why is that important?
It is very important. Only then you are relatable, only then you're relevant. Because when you engage your people who would criticize you on a daily basis, perhaps they don't know certain things. Yeah, so you have to tell them this is what we are doing at the moment. You know, I realized that from I fight a lot on the social media. So the people that I fought with, they are now our supporters, basically. So not that they hate us, perhaps before this, we have not been giving enough information. We have not been engaging as many people as we would want. So by engaging, they know that we are approachable, we are still relatable, we are relevant. That's most important. And they love us. Yeah, and then sometimes they just pick a fight because they just, you know,
want to be heard.
So then we explain, and then they come back, and now quite a number of them, they don't even change the channel. They stick to RTM. Which is a good thing. And when you look at our ratings, for example, Your News is one of the most successful news in RTM. It's not easy for any English programs to actually have very, very high viewership. And Your News is very, very high, which is very good. Yeah.
That's what made the difference. You did revamp content.
I think it is about how we tell the story. It's also about how we tell the story. It's about scripting, and it's not just that. It's the way we present, and also also the look and feel. It has to be contemporary. It has to be modern, minimalist. I always tell the graphic artists, it has to be modern and minimalist. Your font must be modern. Your colors must be nice. Look at our backdrop. It's really nice. Yeah. So when people look at beautiful things, you know, when you go shopping at a supermarket, for example, would you buy something which is not nicely packaged or something that is nicely packaged? Of course, the ones that are nicely packaged.
Yeah. So the aesthetics matter.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Now, Dato', what is your vision for RTM over the next 5 years? How do you see RTM evolving or changing?
I think we are doing very well at the moment. Yeah, we are doing very well. Some of the programs, the viewership has increased by 1-fold, some 2-fold, some even 3 times the viewership compared to previously. Now, moving forward, we have to compete with ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the most important thing. Previously, we look at our competitors, yeah? But at the same time, you have to understand that we are different. What is our differentiator? We are a government brand, government TV channel, TV, radio, and digital channel. And we have to help people understand nation-building issues. Yeah?
Okay.
But in doing that, we must make sure that it's fun. Stories must be fun. People must understand it's inform, educate, and entertain. So when you have that 3 elements, then, and when you do it right, you will be successful. So moving forward, it's about competing with ourselves and continue telling stories, inform, you educate, and you entertain.
Fantastic. Now, Dato', what is RTM's approach to promoting local culture? You mentioned nation building, but that's just one component, I think. So what about local culture and values through the programming, especially in the context of the current globalized media environment?
We must make sure that we still have our values close to our hearts. So this is where recently, during the town hall with people who would supply us with dramas and all that, so I mentioned that, okay, we must make sure that we have our values that we cherish in the dramas, in the telemovies. So,
are there any specific values we're looking at?
We're looking at respecting your elders, yeah, and while chasing your dreams, you know, do not, it has to be a win-win. Don't let people be left behind. You know, you carry people together with you. So those are the values that we have been sharing for generations, basically. Yeah.
Right. Now, when it comes to technology, I'm going back to AI here. You mentioned about the background and how things are being used, how AI is being incorporated. But the recent conferences and all that, I think the ABU conference and all that, we've seen some new tech come in. Where do you see that heading? In terms of RTM, are we allowed to adopt everything, or are there certain things that we can't do because we're a national broadcaster?
When it comes to technology, it's only a tool that you use. At the end of the day, it's the messaging, it's the stories, and how you are able to sell your message across, and people will accept your message. Yeah. So don't worry about technology. We don't have a choice. Sometimes we just have to adopt technologies, but those are only tools. At the end of the day, it's how we think, and what exactly do we want to do in nation building. So to me, that's important. So that's why we need people to continue. One thing that I really believe is lifelong learning. So that is why, in fact, you're attending courses next month, So we keep on sending people for courses to improve. So that's important, because when you have more knowledge, you'll be better. And basically, I'm 62 and I'm still learning lots of things. So and that will make our life actually very interesting. And when we have more information, we'll be able to share it with our audiences. So that's important.
Thank you, Dato' Suhaimi. And with those wise words, we will call it a day.
Oh, we're done.
We're done,
oh my God.
Unfortunately. Thank you so much for your time and for your valuable insights today.
Thank you. Pleasure, Mana.
Thank you. Now, we've been talking to the Director General of Broadcasting, Dato' Suhaimi Sulaiman, on RTM's 78th anniversary. It's now back to you.
Well, thanks, Mohana. And that concludes this evening's